on digital radio, on the app, on your smartphone, on X, YouTube, and Facebook. The Sportscast. Expect the unexpected.
The Donut Bag presented by The Sportscast.
The Donut Bag, hosted by Joey Bag of Donuts. And here's your host, Joey Bag of Donuts.
Hey, we have a show this week. Hey! Woohoo!
No technical difficulties.
Yet.
Really?
Hey, LeeAnn, welcome back.
Hey.
How are you?
Good. Glad to be here.
How wonderful is it that we actually get to talk about football again?
So great.
I don't know if you guys are baseball fans or whatever, but man, it's just hard not dealing with football. And I don't care if it's just training camp or preseason games. I'm just so happy football's back.
It wasn't
the best because you feel like so optimistic. Do you know what I mean? Like you just can't help it. Like at least me, like you just can't help it. Like no matter how frustrated you are going in, you find things to get excited about and look forward to. Yeah.
I mean, especially for the passion that we have as Steeler fans or whatever. And, like we just had a first preseason game. So we're on cloud nine right now, whether they, lost or won. If they would have lost 42-0, we might not be on cloud nine. But we're on cloud nine right now. It was a win. It looked good, and things are moving. It looked good.
Yep. Welcome to the Donut Bag Podcast, part of the Sportscast Network. If you want to join in on the conversation, go. I think the best way is YouTube. I still have to try that out to see if you could respond on Twitter. I know on your show, LeeAnn, you could respond on Twitter because I've done that before. But I don't know if I'm assuming. But anyway, best way is
done it, but I know people do.
I've never been on LeeAnn's show.
I've never been on LeeAnn's show either. I was just just somebody like just like here. People can comment on it. Yeah. Hint, we're begging to be on your show, LeeAnn. That's
anytime. Yeah, come on.
But yeah, we have a preseason game, and boy, are we going to overreact to this thing? Because boy, did they look good. I don't even think. I mean, the Packers were playing their ones for like one or two series. And then after that, I think it's their 3s and 4s and stuff like that. And I don't think they were even trying, but the Steelers really, especially the quarterbacks, really looked good. Were you surprised about how Will Howard and Drew Aller played?
Not really. I mean, you're saying again, they were against, kind of weaker defenses, but I think, they were waiting. Both of them have something to prove. Will Howard just, being injured last year, really didn't get a chance to prove himself. Drew Aller's caught some crap during training camp and had a, just not a great senior season at Penn State, got injured early, didn't have a great couple games where he did play. So these are two guys that were really willing to get out there and sling it. He had pretty good stats on him. Howard 7 for 9 for 86 yards. Aller 10 for 13 for 153. Even Mason Rudolph had a pretty good game at sitting at 10 for 11 for 83 yards. So they all look pretty good. And, I think it's encouraging going forward. And really what you want to say is, well, maybe they'll all look good next week against the Jets. Okay. What's really going to be interesting is when we get to Buffalo, where the defense will probably play a little longer, their defense, and they'll probably rest Aaron Rodgers and might even rest Mason Rudolph. And you might see Howard in the first half, Aller in the second half. That could be interesting to see how they progress through that.
Yeah, LeeAnn, what did you think of how the quarterbacks did?
Yeah, I mean, I watched the whole game, like, it like meditate, like, oh, Kenny Pickett also had a really good preseason. Like, I will not get excited because I was not happy. Like, everybody knows I wasn't really happy about the Kenny Pickett selection. Like, I thought it was a little bit of a reach at the time. But, immediately you shift to like, okay, he's on our team now and let's just be supportive and see what this looks like, right? Then he has this great preseason and you're like, okay, maybe that, little bit of time at Pitt where he looked so great wasn't a fluke after all. And you start to get excited. So you want to be like optimistic, but I keep telling myself, like you said, they were playing like their third and fourth string defense. And there is something to be said for that. I think that's a valid consideration, but I agree. I think they looked remarkably clean. I thought they looked solid. I agree with Darren that the young guys both really have something that they have to prove, because you have to be, if you're sitting in that quarterback room as Will Howard and Drew Aller, you have to be thinking, Aaron Rodgers has already said he's retiring. Like, this is like, they've teed the ball up for me. Do you know what I mean? And like, I've just got to knock it out of the park. Like, this is it. And what a perfect opportunity. And I want to be that guy. And so I think they've got a lot to prove.
Yeah, Mason Rudolph had a little bit to prove. We already know what Mason can do. He just had to show that he could, work within this new coach and the new offense or whatever. Will Howard has everything to prove. He is playing for his career.
He literally is.
This entire summer is basically a big job interview for him. And it's like, hey, buddy, if you could make it, if you could show that you could be a viable NFL quarterback and not a starter, just a backup. If you can just show that you belong in this league, you're set for life. You're going to be making millions of dollars. You're going to be the next Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, okay,
Mason Rudolph is in year 9. And then Will Aller has a lot to prove too, because of how terrible it went at in Penn State, and he looked so good. And Darren, I know, I know you know a lot of Penn State fans. Were they angry that Drew Aller looked so good when he looked so bad at Penn State?
I don't know. I think it's a mixed bag, really. I think a lot of people had some pity for him, right? I think the dislike was more for James Franklin than it was for Drew Aller. And so they were kind of waiting, like, maybe this kid will go get his wings and fly somewhere. And he ends up in Pittsburgh, which is, a lot of Yinzers, a lot of Penn Staters. And he had a good night. There was a lot of people that were happy for him. And I think they continue to be happy for him. Joe, I was actually surprised. I don't think he made it to Latrobe this year yet. I have a few times, and the amount of Penn State Drew Aller jerseys, Penn State Drew Aller jersey, Steelers walking around all over the place, so the kid's got a following just like Will Howard does. And I think they were happy for it. And from what I can tell from my friends and fans that are my friends that are Drew Aller fans, they were pretty happy, pretty excited.
Yeah, I think it was more not, basically they're looking at Drew Aller do well and say, man, James Franklin is you SOB. How could you do this to Drew Aller? Because it was just an absolute mess at Penn State that last year. My goodness, it was just everything was a disaster. And man, he looked really good. And I think the main thing that we could get from this preseason game 1 is they both looked comfortable in the offense. They both look like they could run the offense. They both look like they could play quarterback. So cool.
And neither one of them looks scared, right? Like, might be the third string defense, but that's still a big dude that's like bearing down on you. Right. He is still a professional football player. You know what I mean? And you're talking about our defense. You could have been facing Nick Herbig or, Peyton Will. You know what I mean? Like, who are you facing when you start going into the depth chart on our defense, right? So, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're facing somebody who's a total slouch. So I think there's a lot to be said for the poise that they both displayed. I didn't expect it from Will Howard as much as I thought we saw. I thought he had better presence than I expected from him.
Mm-hmm. What is the big thing that we see from young quarterbacks? They get the happy feet. That's what did Kenny Pickett in. As soon as there any rush came, he would just run around and like a chicken with his head cut off. Both Aller and Howard stayed in the pockets, looked poised. Yeah, and it doesn't matter whether it's third or fourth stringers; they're still coming at you, like you said. And they looked good. They looked poised, and you could just tell that they're getting quality coaching. And that's something we haven't seen for a long darn time here in Pittsburgh, is quality coaching from coordinators and and head coaches.
McCarthy said this morning in his press conference that one of the things he was most impressed with Aller is his ability to kind of like self-correct. Do you know what I mean? That he is recognizing some of those mistakes he makes, especially with his footwork, and he's taken that direction he's been giving. He's kind of self-applying it, and he talked, that's really like this hallmark of being this pro in this league, is that you're able to do those things, without somebody on you all the time. I think that shows something for somebody as young as he is with as little experience as he's got.
Well, and considering too that, if there was some sloppiness, that our tackles did not play well.
Yeah.
There was some sloppy play from Cook and from Fonatani. I always say his name wrong at the beginning. They were a little sloppy Thursday night. And, Howard and Aller especially kind of held it together because Aller had not looked good a few times in practice through the last few weeks under pressure when he got flushed out of the pocket. Howard looked a little better, in my opinion. But but despite that and the ridiculous amount of penalties we incurred, not bad at all.
Yeah, I think the penalties were because it's like, we could actually tackle people now. I think they were just excited. And,
maybe it was brutal.
Well, yeah. But some of them were bad too for the refs. Roughing the snapper. What was it? Roughing the.
I never even heard of that. I didn't even know that was a thing.
How do you even do that?
I didn't know that was a thing either. How do you rough him up? He snaps the ball, he gets hit.
What, do you owe him money or something like that? Like, what?
Right.
You gotta look for that dude.
Right. Yeah, that was bad. But
whether it was a question or not, this has been the big question throughout this whole offseason and training camp is, what are they going to do with the quarterbacks? Are they going to have to keep all four now? Because you can't just, hope that Will Howard goes by on waivers, or are they going to trade Mason? Do they think that Will Howard is good enough to be the number 2? We'll see what happens, but that's a very interesting question. That is the question of this training camp. What are they going to do with these quarterbacks?
I don't know. I'm leaning towards, I think they're going to keep all 4. You'd think that's almost impossible, but they really have a dilemma in that Rudolph's a decent backup, although he looked bad in backup, form last year. But I don't think they want to give up on Howard and Aller. And so it really does come to, you're going to carry 4 quarterbacks, not to mention you have some depth issues at center and guard. So I don't know. It's very interesting what they're going to want to do here.
Andrew QB1 is 42. So
and he's 42.
We got really lucky that he didn't get injured last year. But before last year's preseason, all we talked about was how many games we thought Aaron Rodgers would make it through before he got hurt.
Right.
And because he didn't get hurt, I don't think people are talking about that as much this year. I'm not saying obviously we don't want him to get hurt, but I think it's a valid concern. Like even if you're not a Mason fan, like my gut is like, get rid of Mason. Like we already know we got Mason. We know he can't do it. We know he's not winning playoff games. Like why keep him? But then like the next point, you're like, but at least he's a veteran, right? Like if Rodgers goes down, then you've got no veteran presence there. Do you know what I mean? You've got nobody that's ever really played any significant amount of time. Maybe depending on when the injury happened, if it was like the Jets, it could be no time ever in a professional football game. And then now they're your backup. That sounds crazy. So maybe they'll let Mason, like maybe they'll do a little like handshake deal with Mason and kind of let him go and then bring him back onto the practice squad or something. You know what I mean? I think they can get away with that because of his veteran status. He can't do that with the younger guys.
Yep. Yeah. Unless they're under the theory that, hey, at some point, we know Rodgers is done after this year anyway. It's going to be one of these young guys. We're willing, no matter what may happen, to hand it off and say, okay, Will Howard, it's yours the rest of the way. If, like LeeAnn said, if something happens to Aaron Rodgers, or Drew, it's yours the rest of the way. That could very well be the case. Just not sure what their thought process is just yet.
Yeah, I don't know enough about McCarthy's like quarterback philosophy because you watch other teams do that. Like we've seen like Washington always comes to mind because they did it with so many young quarterbacks in a row where you just kind of throw them to the wolves, and then they're not successful, and then you bench them for somebody else, and you bring in some veteran, and then you put him in, and then you know what I mean? And it's this constant like rotation. So I always worry about those young guys that haven't had any real playing time, that like, is it the best thing for them to just get thrown out there? How much do they benefit from having at least some time behind a veteran on the bench? I mean, even Ben had time behind Tommy Maddox. He didn't have to go right in and start. Tom Brady had time on the bench, right? So you look at some of those guys that were really, Aaron Rodgers, he had time behind Brett Favre, so you look at these guys that had some time and you think, well, I mean, obviously it's ideal to have that time behind Aaron Rodgers, but what if something happens to him?
Go ahead, Darren.
No, I would just say one thing I felt McCarthy did show us is he stuck to the plan and kept this offensive game plan moving. He wanted to do 53 plays. They ran 55. The running game, which didn't feature Warren or Dowdle, only averaged 2.4 yards per carry, but they also stuck to the running game. They didn't abandon it like Tomlin's infamous for, right? They stuck with that running game. They ran a lot of plays with two running backs that were, probably one might see third string. I don't know if anyone's going to make that team, but they definitely, without their two star running backs at least, they made a point of it. They stuck to it and they moved downfield with it too.
The play calling was a little bit interesting on third and fourth down. For one thing, they went for it on fourth down a lot, which was cool. But even on fourth and short, they would just pass it. Like what the hell is this? This is, I don't know. It's just, it is going to be weird seeing competent play calling in the offense and the defense for that matter. But I think what's going to happen with the quarterbacks is Drew Aller is going to get hurt and he is going to end up on injured reserve. He's gonna trip him or something like that, or
upper body injury.
Right.
Like in hockey.
Yeah, upper body. Yeah.
Upper body.
I'm gonna flick him in the eye or something like that.
Right.
I think that's what's going to happen, and I think then they get to keep Mason and Drew and Will Howard, and because I mean it's you don't want Drew Aller playing any meaningful snaps this year.
No.
So just keep him on the team. So we'll see what happens. I mean it's very exciting. It's a wonderful problem to have. It's like, oh my God, we have all these potentially good quarterbacks. Oh no, what do we do? That has not been the case for like the last 6 years. So very, very exciting dilemma to have. So one thing from the defense I noticed, I think we're going to be blitzing a lot. And from everywhere, from all different kinds of things, and it's not going to be predictable. They were blitzing on a preseason game one, and they asked McCarthy about it. He said, "Oh, you ain't seen nothing yet." Like, I am loving that. Bring back Blitzburg, love it.
Yeah, I was surprised about how much Highsmith played in that game, and he was in a lot of those blitz packages. Joe, left side, right side. They had him a little bit everywhere, and he played a lot longer than I thought he would. So, they definitely are trying to get something together and see what works and what fits where. And it's exciting. And it's funny you should say that because I was thinking that's what we love. We love that Blitzburg philosophy. It goes back to the huge canvas painting of Greg Lloyd and Kevin Green and Blitzburg and, the whole 9 yards. And I think fans want to see that so badly. In so many ways again, and I think they're trying to make a point to get there.
Let's hope.
I thought the defense looked good overall. I would like to I keep hoping to just see that that improved communication. Do you know what I mean? Where things just don't look so confused like we saw the past couple of years. Because to me, you saw a lot of really strong individual efforts from players over the past few years, but things just didn't come together in a way that they made sense. So I thought it was really interesting to hear some of the comments from players, because I always think people say, what's he going to say? He's got to be positive, right? And sure, you've got to be positive, but that doesn't mean you have to go overboard, right? Oh, he's great. Oh, it's good, we're happy he's here. But like Cam Hayward talked about Patrick Queen and compared him to Ryan Shazier with the level of communication they've got going into this season. And I thought that was kind of a wild comparison that you didn't have to make. Nobody held your feet to the fire. And so to hear these guys with this talking all the change, I think people you look at really type A people, the 1%ers that super achieve, they become these elite athletes. Those guys thrive with challenge. And I just don't think that challenge has been there. Do you know what I mean? I think it was there in early days in Mike Tomlin's defenses, and I don't think it was the past several years. And I think the guys get complacent. They get confused. I think they get frustrated. I think whether you intend for that to be the result or not, I think things come out in a negative way, and it's not cohesive. So to hear this is the first time I've seen the defense in a few years where they sound this positive.
Exactly. They don't want to come out and say anything negative toward Tomlin.
Sure. And they shouldn't.
But
why?
The way they all talk, it's they're so excited and happy about this new scheme, because I think that old scheme was not working, predictable, and and like you said, the communication, there was communication problems every single freaking game. To me, that's almost a bigger indictment than if you came out and bashed Tomlin, right? Because bashing Tomlin or bashing whomever, Terrell Austin or whomever, is easy, right? That's an easy thing to do. But to come out and really just, the differences, focus on the differences and how good this experience is, to me, that's almost even a little bit more.
Yeah, and that's that. There was, cracks in the ointment even in the last 2 years. Pat Freiermuth made some cracks, even about the defense. TJ Watt talked about not being moved around enough. Started to wear on him. As loyal as they were to Tomlin, like LeeAnn points out, even that started to wane. And the one thing I noticed too at camp, not only is the speed of camp just like nothing I've seen in years, the veracity of these guys matching up against one another and getting each other's faces. There have been several fights. We had a brawl yesterday, or was it today? No, yesterday was a big brawl.
Yesterday.
And Asante Samuel has been going at it with DK Metcalf. I mean, in each other's grill, going at it. I mean, it's really been kind of a lot of fun. There's a lot of aggressiveness on both sides, and that does come from a change of pace, a new life instilled upon you, new confidence instilled upon you that this defense is going to work. We're really going to run with this. This offense is going to work. We're really going to run with this. And you have two teams butting heads like that, so you can feel that excitement, LeeAnn. I think you're 100% correct.
As soon as the Landon Roberts shows up, he starts stirring stuff up.
I love him so much. I was so happy he's back.
How on earth was this guy even available? Why did nobody take him? And why did we even lose him in the first place? He's so awesome.
Why did we ever let him go? I love him.
He said today how excited he is to be back as a Steeler.
He is.
Yeah.
He's such a good fit. He's just such a good fit. He's so Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Malik Harrison, sorry, your coach wants to see you bring your playbook. Also, somebody that's not looking good is Caleb Johnson.
Ooh.
Holy crap.
Wow.
That dude has bust written all over him.
Disappointment.
It's a disappointment. Yeah, I mean, it's just not working, and I mean, he's very last on the depth chart. So it's just
he got some third quarter play, and in that third quarter, they only ran the ball 5 times, right?
Yeah.
The majority of the running came in the first and second and fourth.
You say 5 times. I think that's 3 more times than I realized he was on the field.
and I think he had 2 carries for 3 yards or something like that.
Yeah, right.
But on the bright side, Jeremy Bernard, he seems like a dude that might not be the best practice player, but game day, showing that he can break through tackles and stuff. Ooh,
elite route runner, and he is that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then, Roman Wilson, we'll see how that all works out. We hear positive things. We'll see if it actually happens. But
the guys, go ahead.
Sorry, good.
No, you're good.
I was going to say the wide receiver 3 is a very important position in a McCarthy offense. So whoever that is between Roman, Wilson, and Bernard is going to be playing a lot. So it's an important thing.
We have a real wide receiver room this year, like a legit wide receiver room. We are not the laughing stock of the NFL for our wide receiver room this year.
That's correct. From what I've seen, I don't know. Bernard's been getting more play in camp. He's put in a slot. They put him in the number 2 spot. He's been playing a lot, and it really seems like Rodgers is happy with him. I think he missed that a lot last year. He just didn't have that go-to guy, that slot guy, the guy that, okay, he's getting covered. He's covered deep. That route's wrong, but this guy's always going to run the route. And he hasn't had many drops. He's also had good karma with Aller and Howard too. So he's a guy I wrote down. Another guy I wrote down was Rubio. Right, here's a guy that was like a last pick, and he looked great. I mean, he was wrapping guys up, stuffing them. I mean, he looked fantastic.
They didn't know who he was when he was drafted. The people are like, who the hell is this guy? They didn't even have a picture for him.
Right.
And it's like, okay, obviously this guy's going to get cut. And he's been awesome all camp. It's amazing.
And Dunker, is he just the most Pittsburgh guy in the entire world? Like, every once in a while we run across one of these guys that we bring onto our team, and you're just like, you were meant to be here with us.
Yeah, it's like a magnet. Like you're destined to be.
You belong here. Like, I wish Mike Webster was here to throw an arm around him or something. Like, I love that kid. I'm like, God, you're great.
Yeah. That kid has he had Steeler written all over him.
He sure does.
A lot of red mullet wigs and Latrobe this last few weeks. It's been fun. He's had a lot of fun embracing Latrobe too, signing autographs. Kind of dancing down the ramp as he's been walking down. He's been having a lot of fun. But those are a couple guys that stood out to me. And Tunyon looked good blocking as a tight end.
Yeah.
And let me throw out one thing. And none of us here are Rich Eisen, Pat McAfee, Dan Levitard, whatever. But I do feel, and I've watched LeeAnn's show too before quite a few times. I do feel the three of us here take our time and do our homework. We don't just sit here like a bunch of guys on the couch with some chips and beer and farting in the couch and whatever about Steelers.
I'm burping in the couch.
I would say Joe burped.
Joe burped. Joe did burp. That was pregame. I think we take our time. We take our notes. Like, I personally couldn't watch the game live Saturday night, so I went and rewatched it, made some notes, rewatched some other things, and took notes. So I prep for these things, and I know you two do too. But I don't know if you saw it, but for Maurice Jones-Drew, to be in his new spotlight there at halftime saying, well, despite what we're seeing, I'm not really impressed with the Steelers. They didn't bring anybody in the offseason to improve the team. They finally had to correct him on air, mind you, that they brought in Michael Pittman. They brought in Trunnion. They just brought in, Roberts. They brought in a good amount of people, not to mention a new experienced coaching staff. What are you talking about? Just to me, it's another thing. It's like, well, I'm an athlete, so I can analyze the game, tell you everything about it. Not necessarily.
In his defense, they have to know everything about every team, but also it's your job, dude. Do a little bit of research. You
also have someone sitting there feeding you facts. Like, you aren't even on your own on an island, right? Like, maybe Joe's
There's
big time.
Tons of people doing research for you.
But the rest of us don't have research assistants. So, that's not hard to just kind of make sure you've got those kinds of basic things right. I think, too, that, maybe we didn't bring in as many people as some other teams or some other years. But I think we brought in people last year that we never even really got to fully utilize because things felt so chaotic last year. So, if you're Mike McCarthy, you got to come in and look at the value of your whole team. And he really didn't get rid of people like a lot of coaches might, trade away guys that have been there and things like that. So I do think it looked a little different, but I don't think that's a bad thing when he looked at the value of what we had and said, I see value that's been underutilized, and I think I can get something out of these guys that are already here.
Yeah, when you see new coaches come in, and there was a lot of new coaches. Usually they bring in they usually kind of clean house, and they bring in their people. McCarthy did that a little bit with like Dowdle used to play with
Right.
for
Yeah,
him,
but
and like a few people. But for the
not
most
too
part, he
much.
just kept the team, and that's
Yeah.
amazing. You know, especially with the defense, he could have said, "Oh, we're changing this or we're changing that." It's like no, it's like, hey, defensive coordinator, this is what you got to work with. Okay, work with it.
Okay,
But
so
not
if
like, oh, it has to be my way or whatever. So
if the
that's really
stars
cool.
all align and the Steelers win a Super Bowl on Valentine's Day this next year, do we get to talk about how Mike McCarthy won a Super Bowl with Mike Tomlin's team? Because I'm just going to be
People
so
are already saying that.
I
People
hope
already
so.
somebody said
I want that so badly.
somebody said McCarthy won that preseason game with Tomlin's players. Like, okay, that's a good one.
Oh, wow.
That's a good. It was tongue in cheek. It was very funny. But
I
still,
love it. I'm here for all of it. I love it.
that's
Yeah.
so funny.
Absolutely. I was a little. I would go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say I don't want to. I'm afraid to think about Valentine's Day
Oh,
next year, and
please.
that's
Yeah.
gonna be a weird situation.
I can't believe it's Valentine's Day. I just.
I think that's a weird day for the NFL to pick. I really do. I think it's odd. What's interesting is my birthday is a week before Valentine's Day, and the Super Bowl has fallen on my birthday before. Do you know what I mean? So it's odd to me that you wouldn't choose to make it the 7th or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just think the 14th is weird. Like, that people have. I don't know.
Just do it the week
I
afterward.
don't celebrate Valentine's Day. I think it's a stupid made-up holiday, but I understand that other people.
But you're the least romantic person ever. Your idea of romance is probably like a horror movie marathon or something like that.
Yes, and I want to watch the Super Bowl, and no one can talk.
There you go. But what they
Right.
should do, just do it already. The next week is President's
Yes.
Day. You have Monday off.
Great, what
It'll
a
be
great
perfect.
idea! What a great idea! Yeah, then whoever's teams even for the rest of us to just stay up and watch. You know what I mean? It's a holiday.
There you
for
go.
most people.
We'll be off the next day. It's perfect. But
Why not just make that Super Bowl weekend forever from now on?
seriously, they will. Eventually, they'll go to 18 games.
I was
and then
going to
that's
say
what they'll
when we
do.
get another game, that's happening.
Yep. Nah. That's insane. I usually I'm thinking February. I'm thinking like Daytona 500 is the only sporting event that really comes up in February, and that's
Right.
it. And now we're talking the Super Bowl. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, the NFL is funny, because remember, on Christmas Day, it used to be the NBA basically dominate Christmas Day, and then NFL's like, we'll take care of that. Like they just think, and now they think they're going to take over romance. Like, oh, we'll just take over Valentine's Day. Like,
And the NBA got pissed about that, and they're like, it's still going to be our day, and then they got crushed in the ratings this year.
I was going to say, but what can you say when you don't make any money for the network compared to what the NFL pulls?
Right.
I mean, you kind of just got to quietly take your back seat.
right. In other news, Keeanu Benton got an extension. I believe it was 4 years or 72 million or something like
72
that.
million, yeah.
That's very interesting. I could see, like, you look at it right now, his performance, like, he doesn't deserve that. But in the future, that might be worse, especially if Cam Hayward retires. Then that's big. But what do you think of this move? I don't know what to think.
I think that kid's come a long way. Like, I wrote some scathing articles about him when he was very young, especially could not shut up enough after Ike Taylor came out and was like, he's got the dog in him and all this stuff. And I was like, well, where is it? Because we're not seeing
The dog's in the yard, apparently.
Yeah. I don't know what dog that is. And so, I think he's come a long way. And I think Cam Hayward's been a big part of that. I really do. And I think that kid's got some serious natural talent. And I think it's smart to lock him up now before that price tag goes up even higher, because we still got to deal with Porter.
Yeah, I think they're investing smartly for the most part in their future. I still think that JPJ deserved a contract before Benton or anybody else on the team. But Herbig. But they're investing in that defensive line. He has played better. They moved him around again the other night. They've been moving him around in Latrobe. He's been having some success and jawing it up with the offensive line, and he's been part of that, showing a new emotion. And kind of like LeeAnn kind of hit it on nail on the head there, because he's always been kind of there, but this new offense, the new defense, the way they're running the practice, he's been out there, he's been active, he's had that dog in him that was supposed to be there, that's been a kitten until now.
Well, I don't know if he was used properly. Like,
exactly.
I feel like he was misused.
He was played out of position.
Of so many players, like under Tomlin, like from Najee Harris to like so many of them. It's so frustrating. Broderick Jones, you look at Faltano, and then
almost
you watch
every single offensive lineman was played out of position. I
right,
think
and then you watch what they go through right now, trying to get right where they need to be. You know what I mean? And the struggle is real. So. Yeah, I think the Keeanu Benton wasn't used properly. And I think we've really kind of seen the past like 2 seasons, like that evolution of him as he's starting to flourish, you know, where he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more.
And you know, you think, well, 18 million is a lot of money. It's like that might end up being a bargain. It is smart to lock up somebody for. I mean, it could be like if he has some superstar year or something that he can make double that. But just remember, the salary cap is going up like crazy every year. So yeah, 18 million is a lot, but it's actually not going to be a lot. And that's why it's so weird with this Joey Porter Jr. thing. I don't know if it's on their end or his end of why this hasn't got done. Maybe he's just waiting for because of what Witherspoon just got a deal for like 33 million a year.
That's
and
then
and you still have to do Gonzalez at New England. They're still waiting on that. So maybe they're just waiting and because whoever gets the deal last is going to get the most money. So maybe he's just like, okay, I'll just wait this out and be fake injured.
No different than we did with the outside linebacker crew, right? Well, like across the NFL, where that price tag just kept going up and up and up. And Porter's not stupid. His dad's not stupid. I'm sure his agent's not, and they know if he sits around and waits, that price tag will go up for him. So I personally think it's on his end. I don't think it's on the Steelers. I mean, I don't think the Steelers are necessarily upset about it because I think it's business and I think it's kind of what they anticipated. But I think what concerns me is that I would like to see something done because I'd like to see him there practicing. I mean, this is a whole new coaching staff. Do you know what I mean? I mean, all these things are happening and you might be good and talented and all these things, but this is a significant change and you need to be out there.
Yeah. I agree. And he's a shutdown corner. Because if the Steelers don't pay him, somebody's going to pay him $30 million a year. And I think they need to be smart and lock him up now, like some of these other teams are doing. And, Joe, I think you and I retweeted that within like an hour of each other with the Seahawks re-signing him. So that was kind of funny to me this week. But, JPJ needs to get paid, and they need to do it soon.
And they will. I think they will.
They will.
Just and most likely, I'll bet like you said, it's probably Joey Porter Jr. or his agent or his dad saying, let's just wait this out. It's the more we wait, the more money we make. So let's go. Or maybe the hang up is the guaranteed money. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is pretty cool that we went from never offering a second contract to our own free agent for our own draft picks for years to almost extending an entire draft class. So that's pretty cool. One thing that stinks is Ihana Chor is still hurt. That's a bit of a surprise, and unfortunately, that kind of means he's not going to play this year. I mean, this is the time that you learn. This is the time that you work on your craft, especially for him with so little experience.
Right.
And for him to miss all this time, it's not like he's going to be learning during the season. During the season, you're preparing for the next game. So it's not like somebody's going to have to take the time to teach him stuff. So it kind of seems like it's going to be a redshirt year for Ihana Chor.
I don't know. I think everybody's disappointed because we did get to see him that first week of practice. They brought Watt on the other end in a blitz and he pancaked him. I mean, absolutely pancaked him. And everybody just went, whoa, I mean, he's so quick, so big, so athletic. And it's like you said, Joe, mixed bag, right? Because he hasn't played a position that long. But, not only did Carlton Hasselrig, and I remember very similar in Latrobe sitting up in the grass when there was no anything but trees and grass. And it reminded me of that moment. So, I could see Hannah Chore getting there, but I'm starting to worry about his health.
Yeah, because
I hope it is some abundance of caution, and it's it's not serious and all of those things. But I agree with you. I just don't know, even if it's an abundance of caution, how you catch him up at this point. Do you know what I mean? To get him on that moving train or whatever, like Tomlin liked to call it.
You don't need him going to the med tent like Jackson Dart the other day. Did you see that? I'm thinking, if you're a Giants fan, if Jackson Dart's going to the med tent, like, oh my God. Yeah. I talk about holding your breath.
I know. And then Jackson, you're always taking me to the med tent. Every time I get tackled, I'm in the med tent.
That's right. I have a property there.
Bro, you were lying there for like 20 seconds. Man. We thought you were dead. What are you talking about?
You didn't look good.
That's so interesting. It's like you play a certain way. It's like, hey man, you got to preserve your body, or it's especially on preseason game 1. You should,
you're not supposed to be taking the big hit, dude.
Right.
Yep.
It's like him and Scadaboo is like, this NFL might stand for not for long with those dudes. It's like you might have the talent, but if you can't stay healthy because you're just so reckless, then that's not good. So.
You see some of the Bengals fan pages, and they were losing their mind when Joe Burrow got sacked twice the other night. I mean, it's like, here we go again.
They're finally playing their players in the preseason, and this something like that happens.
I know.
Oh boy! So the third preseason game is at Buffalo.
I believe it's the Jets in Buffalo. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Man, that they are getting some bad PR for that stadium. Oh crap.
Yeah,
it's
and there was a guy this morning. I wake up. I'm not sure who it was. He was saying, "Hey, it doesn't have a waterfall or a duck pond or all this other stuff that some of these stadiums have. So stop, complaining about it." And I'm thinking, okay, that's valid. Maybe it doesn't look like some of these crazy stadiums they have now with all those crazy features. But you shouldn't, in this day and age, have any blind spots. When I was a kid and we go up to Municipal Stadium, the Mistake on the Lake, you would sit sometimes either sideways
right behind a pole
or right behind a pole.
Yeah.
Well, that was built in 1941. Yeah, you shouldn't have that.
Snyder did it on purpose at FedEx after they built that new field, and he went back and had like so many thousands of seats, and that's what he did. He tucked him in behind things. So I went to a game one time at that park. I was literally behind a pole, and there's like a little TV you could watch off to the side.
Oh my God!
Like to injury. Like I have a bigger TV at home. You've got like a little, like a 14-inch up on the pillar, so I can watch the game.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
It's almost worse. Yeah, it's that Buffalo Stadium. That's interesting. All that money they spent, and I don't care about all the features. I agree with you. I'm not worried about swimming pools and duck ponds and whatever else, right? Like I want to be able to, I want to see the game, and I want really high quality sound, sound system, your Jumbotron, and decent food.
I have this feeling
that point.
That stadium, it was such a home field advantage for Buffalo because the fans were like almost right on top of it. The crowd was so into it. And it seems like now that's going to be neutralized, and I think that might actually hurt them. Plus, I heard the grass isn't that great, so it's like, oh boy, because they had artificial turf before, and now they have natural grass. So.
The three of us complain about the same thing. I know Joe has, LeeAnn. I'm sure you've been to Three River Stadium. We all remember how much louder that was in Heinz Field.
Yes.
We've all been there. We know. Yeah.
But all those old stadiums, I spent a lot of years in DC, and RFK was like that. I mean, you could feel the ground shake when the fans were stomping their feet at that stadium. I mean, there's nothing that compares to that old stadium environment, and I was surprised that more teams, and they build these big modern stadiums, don't try to find ways to impart that feeling like back into it. Do you know
They
what I
have
mean?
they have other motives. They'd
Yeah.
rather, it's either cut costs or whatever, or increase profits or whatever it is. But that's, not the fan experience or the home field
No.
advantage part of it is like the furthest from their mind. It's like,
But it's all about these like crazy spaceship designs and all these like
Mhm.
holes they're going to put in and memory things. And all those things are nice. But like realistically, as a Steelers fan, how often do you go walk through all those things, right? You do it once, you maybe take somebody news with you, you go through it, right? But how often are you battling to get through that hull of whatever they call it at Acrisure? What you care about a lot more is what happens once you get your butt in your seat in the stadium and you're there to see the game. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. And then, the Bears might be in freaking Indiana, and they might call them the Indiana Bears. That would be insane.
They said they weren't going to change the name, but
I mean, that's a pillar. I mean, I hate to even admit it, but Chicago, Cleveland, it's like the original six, right? In hockey. It's like those are the kind of those are the kind of places that need to stay in their cities.
There's some sacred teams. I always felt that way about Washington, even though it wasn't one of the oldest teams. They moved out to Maryland, and it was such a mistake. It was so far and hard to get to. And
I mean, that's a shame what happened with Washington. The Washington in the 70s and 80s, like there was no team that was more successful besides maybe the Steelers and the 49ers and the Cowboys. But I mean, Washington was winning all those Super Bowls also.
Yeah.
They were a dynasty. And
The
then
90s.
that idiot bottom and just oh my God, the worst owner ever. Thank goodness they got rid of him. Yeah.
Dan Snyder was a joke.
He was the absolute worst. One more thing. This was from the Hall of Fame game, I guess now a couple weeks ago. Ben Roethlisberger and Antonio Brown will be eligible next year. Well, I think we know about Antonio Brown, but do you think Ben will make it in the first year eligible?
I do.
I do too. Not being a Steeler fan, if I I just think it's hard to ignore his accomplishments in the regular season, as well as Super Bowl wins. You pair with that the fact that he had a lot of uniqueness about him. Probably one of the best, check down quarterbacks in history. I mean, nobody could ball fake like he could, to move like he could, to be as big as he was. He was a marquee name in Big Ben. Right. It's kind of like the mailman or Air Jordan or whatever, and he's a pretty well-spoken guy. And that's why AB's this is not going to be there. You could argue AB stats, they're insane. People don't realize how good AB was, but they don't know what the hell he would say if he got up there. He's just not in that spot. Right. So I think Ben makes it, because Eli and Ben, right? They're often compared together, but Eli had so many struggles in the regular season, and I don't think him and Ben are even comparable. I think Ben gets in. I think Eli might get in with him, or Eli's got to wait a few more years, but Ben's going to be first ballot.
The only thing is that this is just such a popularity contest, and they just hate Ben so much. And that's the one thing that, like, my brain says like he should get in, because when you compare him to other quarterbacks, he's got the hardware. Do you know what I mean? That puts him right up there to be able to go in with the Super Bowls. But when you look at how they tend to handpick their favorites, do you know what I mean? And he's not a Manning, and he's never going to be a Manning, and you know what I mean? And so I just, I think there is some stigma there for Ben. Maybe it's got to do with some of the early stuff that happened with him, or maybe it's just got to do with that he wasn't always like the friendliest guy with the media, or the most eager to talk to people, or all of those things.
There's a couple factors besides that. For one, people might say there's too many Steelers in the Hall of Fame already. You're gonna have to wait.
Stupidest argument ever. Like that should not even be allowed.
What difference does that make?
Also, you say that about all the great Patriots that won during that dynasty, when it's all of their turns to get in. Do you know what I mean? So you're looking at all of those people. You can't say that. Like, that's an absurd thing, because then we're going to be the Kansas City Chiefs when all of those guys are eligible to get in. And so you're creating dynasties in the NFL. You're going to have them go into the Hall of Fame as dynasty.
Yeah, and then the other thing is, he can't be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's gonna have to wait for just such stupid arguments.
Yeah, that's why I think some of the stuff LeeAnn said is correct. And Joe, you're definitely right about the anti-Steeler, bias in there. And I think we've seen a couple guys. His name's escaping me. He's retired now. That did all the speaking for the Steelers from the Post Gazette.
Dulac?
But no, not Dulac.
It was
No.
Bouchette.
Yeah,
Oh,
Bouchette.
Bouchette.
I don't know who it is now.
He tried for years for LC Greenwood.
Yeah.
And there's no doubt in my mind, and a lot of people's mind, that LC Greenwood should be in there.
Oh, 100%.
But he would Ed would come right out and say, but there's a bias. Like, well, that's another Steeler. Well, those guys are household names. And LeeAnn, you bring up the Patriots, and to me, why I think Ben might just get in is because he was a household name. Everybody knew who Big Ben was. Like everybody knew who Ray Lewis was, right? Everyone knew who Troy Polamalu was. There's not a lot of guys, interestingly enough, on all those Patriots championship teams, other than Tom Brady, that they really know their names, right? Vince Wilfork, okay, there's another, and the safety. But yeah, I mean, if I sit here and name, 11 guys on that team, not many people outside of Boston are going to be able to say that.
Yeah, I mean, these are the same people that didn't put Bill Belichick in, so you don't
know what they're gonna do.
There's politics. There's who knows what biases. Who knows what's going on there. So, I mean, Hines Ward really should be in there, and he probably will never get in.
And
he'll never get in now. Now it's never happening. Now the ship has sailed. They've moved on to bigger and better things. But to me, anytime you have a player that like fundamentally changes the way a game is played, do you know what I mean? Like that person should be in the Hall of Fame, and Hines Ward is that guy. I mean,
nobody did it like him.
Nobody did it like him.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. And they just said today that they're considering that this coming year, they're going to let a fan vote for the Heisman. Now, whether that's just, a facade where like, hey, we'll let the fans vote, but they don't really give a crap. Who knows? But I've always said that in these Hall of Fames, there should be a fan vote.
Why not?
I just wish there was some kind of criteria where, you could make it make sense, because I hate anything where when it's over with and you have the answers, you don't understand how they got to those answers, right? So like for some players, I think some things are clear cut, right? And whether you agree with it or not, Pete Rose was kept out of the Hall of Fame for gambling. So you may disagree with that stance, right? But they clearly said, like, should he be there? Yes. And he's not going to be because he broke the rules, right?
Yeah.
So to me, like that I can understand and that I can get behind. But how can you say like some guys don't belong there, or we're going to keep Ben out, or we suppose we're keeping Ben out because of things he did the first couple of years of his career, and then look at what some of the other players that are sitting in the Hall of Fame have done. And so
right. They're no angels.
What frustrates me is if you just say what the criteria is and somebody meets the criteria or they don't, then there's nothing to argue about. But if it's going to be just like middle school, like homecoming king shit stuff, sorry, then what? Like, come on.
And, I mean, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I'd rather than a fan vote's cute. I'd rather there be a player vote, because we know darn well we've had.
There you go.
Ed Reed has even said Hines Ward belongs in the Hall of
Yeah.
Fame. I mean, let a player vote be in there, because the players will say, okay, yeah, we lost the Steelers, we beat the Steelers, whatever it was. I still respect the hell out of this guy for this reason.
It's what they do with the Pro Bowl. Isn't that like part players, part fans, part journalists or something like that? It's exactly what they should do with the Hall of Fame too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They should. There should be a player vote that has a decent, percentage of a vote.
Yeah, that's a good idea. It is a shame about Antonio Brown, because he might be in the conversation for like that stretch he had, like that 6-year stretch. He was the greatest possibly of all time. But there's no way you could put him in. He's wanted for, I think he's wanted for murder or something like that. Like they're maybe 10, 20 years from now, if he, gets his life together or something like that. But
And do you
He's
put
just
on the
mess.
bust, is he like the Independent Republic of Antonio Brown or whatever he changed his name, Sovereign State or whatever he decided he was that time? Are we going to put all his names like Mr. Big Chest? Are we going to do like the whole list of them on his bust in Canton? Or
From now you could call me Ronald. But maybe not his face. Maybe remember his foot was in that cryo thing and it was all mangled or
Yes.
something. So maybe he'd
Yep.
be the only player that would have just a giant mangled foot as a bust.
hey, maybe we should start like an alternative NFL Hall of Fame just for things like that. And you could have like
Or the
Right.
fingers that
Ronnie
what's his
Watt.
face blew off with the firecrackers. Maybe
Yes,
have that.
right.
Yeah.
You know,
John
like Ronnie
Pierre Paul.
Watt's toe or whatever it was that he chopped off that
His thumb.
time.
His
Like
thumb.
Antonio
Yeah.
Brown, right? Antonio Brown's foot. You could have like Najee Harris's eyeball. Where he shot the firework into it.
Oh my God.
Right.
The Hall of Body
Sure, we
Parts.
I'll come up with some more.
The Body Part Hall of Fame.
Hall of,
Oh my
NFL
God.
Hall of Shame.
Yeah.
Hall of-
Yep.
Oh God, I'm thinking of that guy that tried to beat a drug test with something called the Wizinator.
Oh,
Was
so
it
it
Adam
was a-
Vinatieri that broke his foot celebrating? Was that him that jumped up in the air and then came down the kicker? And then they-
Grammatica.
That was
Yeah,
dramatic.
Grammatica, that's who it was, not Vinatieri. Yeah, there you go. That's another one.
Another one is, remember that player Gus Frerotte for Washington. He
For
scored a
Washington.
touchdown and then he slammed his head against the wall and like broke his neck or something.
Yeah. Yeah. And is that Gus Frerotte or was
Gus
that
Frerotte, yeah,
It's Gus Frerotte.
from
And that was
Pittsburgh
back-
area, I believe.
Yes, and that was back before they really cared about concussions. So he had to really hurt himself because normally it would have just been like shook his helmet a little bit. And
Right,
put him on
right.
the field.
Well, Leroy Selman, who's a Hall of Famer, got injured in a Pro Bowl. That ended his career.
Really? Wow.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah. Yeah, he got injured in a Pro Bowl, his neck, and it ended his career.
Back when the Pro Bowl meant something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
back when they hit. Yep.
Ooh, that would be terrible though to have your career end at the Pro Bowl, which is
I
so
know.
meaningless.
There was somebody else. It wasn't even the game. It was a beach volleyball thing. Went some running back or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like blew out his knee or
Right,
something
yeah.
like that. Like
Okay, I don't remember.
of all the places, man. Ugh.
Hmm.
All right. Well, LeeAnn, it's so good to see you again.
Good to see you guys.
Absolutely.
Okay, when is your show? I keep looking for your show. I can't find it.
Yeah, it's usually Tuesday nights at 7, Steel
Okay.
City Huddle. So usually I put something on my page with a link on Tuesday. Zach's been going through it, my partner, a little bit this summer. So we've done some kind of different days through the summer. But now that training camp's kind of underway in the preseason, we're trying to stick to our normal Tuesday night schedule. So Tuesdays at 7.
You're live on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
Your show? Yeah.
And on YouTube. So come, comment, chat with us, tell us what you think. We want to hear it all.
Yeah.
Sounds
All
good.
right.
Good times.
All right. Well, glad
Thank
we
you,
got a
guys.
show off this week. My goodness.
Yeah.
That was very annoying last week. We were all sitting here and it kept saying, due to high traffic, please try again in 30 seconds. So like every 30 seconds I would try and then it just wouldn't work. Very, very annoying. But we got a show off this week. So cool.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, thanks so much, guys.
Thanks
Thanks,
guys.
guys.
See you.